So yeah, this is DIY Brain Surgeon. This is a little game that I made with Docs Vico and Rémi Leblanc in Paris. It was back in December 2014. There was an event at the Cité des Sciences called iGam4er, a sort of game jam for games in education and research. I'm actually surprised it's taken me so long to get around to putting up this footage, because this is one of the coolest jam games I think I've ever worked on. One of the cool things about the game jam was that we had an opportunity to use this kind of electric muscle stimulation technology, and before the game jam started there was a workshop on how to use it. And what we decided to do with the game was, rather than using these electric muscle stimulation as a kind of electric shock to punish a player, what we wanted to do was use them to create involuntary motion on the part of the players. Because one of the cool things about this muscle stimulation is that if you put it on the right muscles, you could get your arm to do movements that you didn't want to do. So what we thought was, how about we do this game where you're performing brain surgery on yourself. In the game, you're trying to zap tumours with a laser, but you don't want the laser to go into the nice, healthy, fleshy part of the brain. You just want it to go onto the nasty tumours, and every time the laser crosses a nerve ending, you get a jolt of electricity on the muscle stimulation device, which forces you to do some involuntary motion. If you can't control yourself, then you're going to end up cutting into the brain tissue. So rather than making the nerve endings an obstacle that you had to avoid, what we wanted to do was make it something that you had to pass over, so that the game was not about, avoiding stuff using a mouse, but being able to overcome the involuntary motion generated by the electric shock going through your arm. It was a really good team to work with, and I'm very happy I was able to make it to the event. From a design point of view, I think one of the big lessons is that it's important to look around us for stimulation outside our normal ways of interacting with games. And this muscle stimulation as an idea spoke to me very strongly in that way, in the same way that the Bluetooth connected buttons that I'm working on now and running around a room like I have done in Dash and Bash has inspired me. Games are sensory experiences as well, and that sense can include touch, and that using custom hardware we can actually engage those senses. And when we're trying to do that, we shouldn't be using that as a sort of form of punishment or as a gimmicky add-on, but designing so that we're asking, okay, how can we make people engage with what's interesting about this in a meaningful way? For this project, that meant we've got a game about muscle stimulation. How can we make it so that the player is having to focus on controlling their movements?